Okay, so it's been a while since I did one of these, but I got some heat. We're gonna go over a classic hip-hop album and determine which film best parallels this project. Now, I threw a little bit of a hint out there, but the first album I want to dive into is gonna be Kendrick Lamar's 2011 classic, Section 80. This is the album that introduced Kendrick Lamar to me, and I've been a huge supporter ever since. This debut is a cinematic exploration of the Section 80 generation. You know, all of us who were born in the 80s during the crack epidemic. You got Keisha's song, a tragic story about a girl who's forced into sex work, and you also have Tammy's song, which explores how infidelity and broken trust can lead to cycles of dysfunctional relationships. You also have the significance of the campfire throughout the album. The album is framed by a group of friends gathered around a fire seeking the spiteful chant and trying to find hope amidst all the chaos in Compton. It's a classic body of work that serves as a social commentary on how a generation raised without stability fights to find its own identity and morality. And the film that comes to mind to best describe this record is going to be John Singleton's 1995 classic film, Higher Learning. The album opens up with the track Fuck Your Ethnicity, which is a constant struggle throughout John Singleton's film. The film opens up on the first day of college during a seminar. You can cut on this track during this scene and it almost parallels perfectly. And I'm talking specifically about the opening lines in that song. When I hear a song like Hold Up, it makes me gravitate towards a character like Malik. You know, it almost sounds like this kid who is stepping in the world, and because of his college scholarship, losing is not an option. But not only are the odds stacked against him, he's also under this pressure of performing for the world. You know, he's a little cocky too. You know, he's on a plane, he's on a high. You know, he's feeling himself. As a track runner, he's breaking ground on top of the asphalt. They checking his passport, and he kind of feels like nobody can step in his lane. Of course, he ends up getting humbled when he finds out the competition is stiffer than what he anticipated, but that's another Kendrick Lamar album. ADHD reminds me of that college lifestyle. I mean, these kids are in the house party tripping. But then you can also pivot to a character like Remy, who is a loner. Just the production on ADHD kind of gives you that hazy, dreamlike feel where you're in a room with a lot of people, but you still feel alone. We can even pivot to a character like Kristen. When Kendrick Lamar goes into standing up, shutting the blinds, and she just might open up, it kind of plays into what happens at the college party. If we continue to focus on Kristen, No Makeup is her song. You got this girl who just had this traumatic experience. She's dyeing her hair to try to find her identity. She's experimenting. There are so many levels of confusion and self-discovery tacked in this. And then when you top that with exams and everything the college has to offer, it could become overwhelming for one person to handle. Ronald Reagan Era is a track that really describes the tension throughout this film. There's anger, there's self-hate, there's retaliation, and of course, let's not forget systemic racism. Bottom line is the kids just ain't alright. Everything is fucked up. You can't detour when you're at war, and you can't fight fair because you'll never win. Or at least that's what some of these characters are made to believe. When I focus a little bit more on Remy's character, the track Rigor Mortis comes to mind. His separation from the world forces him to become Marilyn Manson with madness. And this is a trope that I like to play with on some of my side projects. And it kind of taps into that anxiety that a lot of people deal with, but they're just not open enough to really express it. The production on this track is frantic. You got the jazz horns, and Kendrick Lamar just snaps. He gets more and more frantic, more and more antsy as the track continues. He's riled up, he's pissed off, and he's coming for everybody. I mean, is it possible that he's an orphan and a hairdresser combined? Malik, what do you think?
Just a punk-ass white boy. Fucked up hair.
Okay. When I pivot to a song like Poor Man's Dream, I think about the black community throughout this film, because all we want to do is smoke good, eat good, live good. But the way the institution is set up, it makes these simple pleasures hard to reach. And then comes the spiteful chant. You got all these people smiling in your face, but you know they talk shit behind your back. But it's not about surrendering to this fact. What it's really about is, well, I'll let Buster describe it.
It's about this, nigga. You see this? Yo, it's about this black fist, nigga. We gon' pound it motherfucking ass until they get in.
Another one of my favorite songs on the album, Blow My High, which is an ode to Aaliyah, and it also shouts out Left Eye. These are impactful black females that we have lost. And when we look at the character Deja, it parallels that loss that Malik feels after the shooting occurs. It also parallels college campus shootings that we were dealing with during the civil rights movement and the protest against the war in the 60s and 70s. This continues in high power when you think about lines of Fred Hampton being on campus. For me, it symbolizes a consistent persistent fight for equality that's continuously being shot down. However, you're operating on a level so high that the fight doesn't stop. It continues, even to this day. And this is why I feel Higher Learning is a perfect fit to describe Section 80. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Are there any points throughout this album that parallel the film that I missed? Let me know in the comments. I plan on making more of these throughout the year, so definitely subscribe if you like it. So until next time, peace.